going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Disney Wish video. Now, what I have for you guys today is the most expensive dining review I have ever done. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing Enchanté, which is the most high-class fine dining restaurant on board the Disney Wish. If you've been on either the Disney Dream or the Disney Fantasy and you've been at Remy's, it's basically the same thing. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that I have not yet dined at Remy on either the Dream or the Fantasy, so this is my first ever experience with one of the higher class restaurants on board the Disney ships. And all I gotta say, guys, is that this was the most interesting and the most awkward meal I have ever had in my entire life. And if Coda were here with me, she would agree, because we had a lot to say after our meal. And it's not all stuff that we got on camera because we needed time to process what we had just eaten and what we had just experienced. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to be jumping right into it as we walk inside of the Rose. And what's going to happen is we are going to show you guys what we had over the course of our meal. And after I show you a specific course, I'm going to jump back in here and I am going to give you guys my thoughts. With all that being said, guys, I really hope you enjoy this video. Leave a like if you did and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. But now let's go ahead and get into the review. Aw, look at this. It's all themed around Beauty and the Beast. Mrs. Potts. Oh my gosh, it's the Rose and the Mirror. Wow, so this is the Rose. This is a bar over here. Wow. Holy cow. This is super nice. Wow, this is beautiful.
Welcome to Enchanté.
Wow, beautiful hallway.
Yes, and we have our walls and our lighting from Beauty and the Beast. And we also have a Lumiere as well. Isn't it cute?
That is adorable.
It is. And our beautiful chocolate 397 chocolate bubbles.
Wow.
And here we have a collection of the candelabras, which light up the room. See how it's white and nice? Here we are.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Is it a beautiful one?
It's beautiful. So here's a look at our table on Enchanté. What do you think so far?
Well, I already tried to touch this and it slid, so it doesn't open.
No idea what that's for. I don't know what that's for. But it's really nice in here so far. Like, oh my gosh, this place is gorgeous. And this view, you cannot beat this view either. You got all the roses up here as well. So this is the most elegant experience on board the Disney Wish, and I already feel so out of place. Like, Coda and I, we don't drink wines, and they're offering us all this wine and different kinds of, like, champagnes, and, like, we're not into that. We don't, so we feel very awkward. We're just like, we don't drink wine, we don't drink champagne. So it's very, very weird, but I'm still very excited. Like, we were just okay with regular house water. Like, he offered us water from, like, what, Norway? Voss, Evian, and something from the UK, but we were just okay with house water. Like, I don't know, guys. Oh no. Okay, so before we get into our first course, it's not even really a course, it's called the Moosebouche. I just want to say, we're starting off strong with the awkwardness and not feeling really all that welcome inside the restaurant. I mean, not really welcome, but it's just weird how they made us feel, because we walked in there and they offered us different wines, they offered us different waters from around the world, and the look that we got from the server when we told him that we don't drink wine was absolutely mind-blowing. I have never had someone look at me like that at a restaurant before in my entire life. So that immediately made us uncomfortable. And then he offered us the different waters, and the look on this man's face when we said we were fine with the house water, which was basically tap water, made us feel even worse. And then on top of that, I kindly asked him for a Shirley Temple. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think asking for a Shirley Temple was a big deal, but it was. I mean, clearly this man was French. He was from France, and he was French through and through. So I guess I kind of can't blame him, but when I asked him for a Shirley Temple, he had no idea what that was. I had to describe to him what a Shirley Temple was, and I basically had to tell him how to make it. And that was just a very interesting experience, one that I was not expecting to have. So, yeah, starting things off strong. Let's go ahead and move on to the Moosebouche.
You will have here, the first one is a tartelette with comb cheese cream and cauliflower vinaigrette, and on top you will have the comb cheese wrapped. The second one is a falafel with lemon drops on top, and the third one is another tartelette with yogurt herbs and shallot. Do not hesitate to eat directly with finger, as it is finger food, and enjoy your experience.
Thank you. Still very confused as to what this thing is. I have no idea what it is, but you push it and it like pops out, but you can't like pull it out. So I have no clue what this is. But I will say, this smells really good. I can smell it. It smells really good. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, the Moosebouche isn't even your first course. They hand you this as soon as you sit down, basically, and before you even get a chance to look at the menu. I will say that 2 out of the 3 items that are on this plate were actually really tasty. The item that looks like it has cheese on top was really tasty, and the one in the middle was actually really savory. It had a lot of flavor to it, and I enjoyed that the most. But the one on the end that looks like it's got green on top, it tasted like dishwater. Like, I'm not even kidding you guys. It tasted like soapy dishwater. And both Coda and I did not enjoy that at all. So just be aware of that when you get the Moosebouche. Is that one with green on it? Just be prepared.
Do you have any time restriction this evening?
Any time restrictions? No.
Fantastic. That's the best way to enjoy it here. Okay, so the menu is divided into 2 parts. First of all, on the right hand side, you have a la carte menu. So you can just pick up any dishes, you have the price on the right side and create your own experience. Nevertheless, my recommendations are on the left hand side. We have 2 tasting menus. First, the passion menu, which is $125 per person, 5 courses that we have described down there. The only dish that is different tonight is the John Dory, and it has been replaced by stone crab. The most popular tasting menu here is the collection, $195 per person. It's made of 9 courses, different flavors, beautiful cuisine. But we don't see much information on it for one reason. Our chef has decided to create a surprise menu. So you will only get to know the food when it comes in front of you.
Interesting.
Also, we have 2 pairings that match the flavor of your food. We have the basic wine pairing, which is $115 per person. And we have a special premium pairing, $200 per person, made and designed by our 3-star Michelin chef, Chef Arnaud Lallemand. The best wine that we do à la per glace. Would you like to think about it?
Yes.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. So here is a closer look at the menu. You guys can go ahead and pause if you want. The collection, $195, passion, $125, and you can add the champagne journey for an additional $140 and the wine for $115. And here is the a la carte menu as well. All of this is separate. So I just surprised Coda and told her that I budgeted for the collection option. So we're gonna go ahead and do that today. No wines, unfortunately. Both of us. Unfortunately. It's not quite as elegant as you would expect. You mean I'm not getting wine? So yes, we will be experiencing the $195 collection. Now he does say that this doesn't list off everything because every night it's different. So the chef makes a custom menu for this every night, so we're not going to know exactly what it is until it actually gets here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the menu options that we have here. We have the collection, which is $195, and the passion, which is $125. Now, as I said in the video, I budgeted for the collection. I budgeted to spend a lot of money. I went into this knowing that I was going to spend a lot of money. So what I wasn't expecting though was the most expensive option, the collection, being a surprise. Basically, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And even after making this video, even if you were to go inside Enchanté tomorrow, after watching this video, what you're gonna get is more than likely not going to be the exact same thing that we had in this video. So I don't know how I feel about that, with the most expensive option basically being a surprise. You're at the mercy of the chef. Whereas with the Passion, you kind of know more or less what you're getting. And even then, for someone like me who grew up, you know, struggling, like a lot of this stuff, I have no idea what it is. Like a John Dory, I have no idea what that is. I mean, it says sea urchin and plankton, but I've never had any of that before. A squab pigeon fermier, don't know what that is. And, you know, things like that, like stuff that I can't pronounce, like at least I can kind of get more or less a little bit of an idea ahead of time, but I just don't know how I feel about the $195 option being a surprise. Like at least with any other restaurant that you go to, you have options. You know, you look at a menu and you can say, hey, this is what I want for dessert, this is what I want for my main, this is what I want for my appetizer. Or if you're at a restaurant, like say Be Our Guest, that's a prefix menu. You have a set price and then you have a list of things that you can choose from for each course. You have 3 items for your appetizer, entree, and dessert. Things to choose from. This, you get no choice here. So my guy brought out some butter and it looks like salt.
Before the appetizer, we have in front of us bee wax, coming with a lemon condiment, mixed tuile on the side, made of rice flour. My recommendation for this dish, to take the tuile and just to dip it inside the bee wax. Bon appetit.
Thank you. All right, so this is our first official course, and from the get-go, we knew that we had made a mistake and that we were in trouble, because my man's brought out beeswax, and it was like crispy beeswax, like it was almost like a chip, like it just crumbled. And I had no idea that pinky up people like to eat flower petals, because a lot of the dishes that we had, well, not a lot, but a few of the dishes that we had flower petals, and it was almost like not an option to pick out the flower petals. So we just kind of went for it. And especially with this soup dish right here, it was basically like eating a plant. It was like eating a flower. There wasn't too much flavor to it. I mean, yeah, he recommended dipping the beeswax into the thing, but I mean, it was a savory soup. I mean, the soup itself had some flavor and it was tasty, but when you like eat it like with everything, it was like eating into a flour, and I didn't really care too much for it.
So we have here a tomato dish. So in front of us we have a slow cooked tomato, cooked 12 hours in butter with a tomato condiment. So we have different types of peppers, we have olives. On this side here we have a tomato vinaigrette and a homemade focaccia bread. The glass I just put on the table is not wine, it's tomato water. 100% tomato water. The 2 ice cubes inside are also made of the same tomato. Okay? These 2 dishes, they have been made for one purpose. Whenever we have a tomato plate, a little bit of tomato at the end of the plate, we like to wipe it with the bread. So this has been made for you to take it with your fingers, dip it inside the vinaigrette, and enjoy.
Okay.
Bon appetit.
Thank you. Now moving on over to the tomato course. This course was a little bit better, but again, you have flower petals sprinkled on top of the tomato. The tomato itself was tasty. You could taste the butter that it was cooked in for 12 hours. So I'm not faulting on that too much. Now, the tomato water, that was very interesting. That was my first time ever having tomato water, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is straight up tomato water. Like the taste of a tomato liquefied. There's not much else to it. I wasn't a fan of it. Koda wasn't a fan of it. I just didn't understand why it was even a thing.
So we have here Caviar Dish. So the caviar is Belgium Imperial Ocetra caviar. It's coming with sour cream, vodka, shallots, haddock jelly, and potato soup. I was black somewhere, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Enjoy, bon appetit.
Thank you. Now on to the caviar. Now I personally am a fan of caviar. I've had caviar in the past when traveling abroad, and I enjoy the taste of it. So the caviar to me was not bad. Now what threw us off was the foam. Several of these dishes have foam involved in it, and we don't know why the foam is even a thing. And I mean, for me personally, this dish was tasty. Coda, on the other hand, she did not like it at all. She tried a little bit of it just to make it look like she ate it to, you know, be polite, but she ate some and she did not care for it one bit. The sour cream, I think it was, that was underneath the caviar. That was really tasty to me. So overall, this course was a win for me because I like caviar, but for Coda, it was not. And the foam didn't add too much to the dish.
In English, is stone crab. It's coming in the tartelette viennoise. Crab meat inside. On top, we have a langoustine jelly. And here, I'm going to put the green sauce on top of the green plate. It's a crab mayonnaise. Bon appetit.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to this, for lack of better description, crab cake, or, you know, crab on top of a little cracker. It was actually really tasty. A little bit on the fishy side, I will say that, a little bit on the fishy side, but it wasn't too overbearing. I actually really enjoyed this, and Coda did as well. But again, you got the flower petals on top, and the like jelly stuff that it's for me, the best way to describe it is like a savory fruit roll up. I mean, it was just kind of there, didn't add too much flavor to it. It just throws in an odd texture that both of us didn't really care for.
We have here Norway lobster, potato ravioli, lobster meat inside with sage, and the sauce is divine. It's a lobster bisque. Enjoy.
Thank you. And next up, we have the lobster tail. This was actually, honestly, my favorite part of the meal. I am a huge fan of lobster tail, and it was a very well-cooked lobster tail, but it was half a lobster tail. It was half a lobster tail with a little bit of potatoes on the side, and again, more foam. That was supposed to be a lobster bisque. The foam, why do you guys like the foam? I don't understand the foam. So can you guys let me know down in the comment section below why foam is a thing with these super fancy meals? I mean, it was really tasty. I'm not gonna fault it. It was really tasty, so I had no complaints there.
Fish course, so it's a halibut, fished in Alaska, coming with an onion condiment. So we have onion petals, onion pearl, and onion gratin. The sauce is outstanding. It's a vermouth sauce.
Thank you very much. All right, now moving on to the halibut. This was actually another slam dunk course. Granted, the portion size was really small. I finished that in 2 bites. It was rather tiny, but it was really tasty. Ever since I went on the Alaska cruise, I had halibut for the first time, and I absolutely love halibut. So this was a tasty course, and the onions that were on the side, the grilled onions, were actually really tasty. So no complaints from me, other than it's just a really small course.
So we have here Wagyu beef, cooked medium rare, coming with an artichoke condiment, beef jus.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Okay, moving on to the Wagyu beef. Now, I just want to preface this by saying I personally have never had Wagyu beef. However, I have seen it cooked many times, and I don't think this was Wagyu beef. Either that or it was like a really cheap cut of Wagyu beef. It was not tasty at all. I was very disappointed. The tastiest part of this dish was actually the artichoke hearts that were there in the center. That was so disappointing. He said that we were getting Wagyu, and I was so excited. And then it came out, and I actually took a bite out of it. It was tough to cut through, and everything that I've heard and read about Wagyu was that it was supposed to cut like butter. And yeah, it was tough to cut through, and it didn't have much flavor, and I was severely disappointed with this dish. So yeah, it was sad.
So we have here a pork braised salad, okay, façon barbecue, coming with a bao bread on the side, mango chutney, and a hazelnut oil vinaigrette with parsley.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Next up, we have a little bit of a salad course. Now, this was kind of tasty. It was very interesting. From the top, it's just a bunch of salad leaves, but at the bottom, it actually had barbecue pulled pork, for lack of a better description, because that's almost what it tasted like. It tasted like barbecue pulled pork. However, it wasn't like a high quality barbecue pulled pork. Like, if you've ever been to, I don't know how to describe this. If you've ever been to like Costco or Walmart or something, and they have these black packages in like the frozen, or not the frozen meats, but in the cold meats section where you can, it's like a microwavable dinner of pulled pork that you kind of just lift the top up and you pop it in the microwave and it's like fully cooked pulled pork dinner meal. That's what it tasted like. That's exactly what it tasted like. And while I'm not faulting it for being tasty, because it was tasty, but for me to be able to compare this directly to a microwavable meal is very upsetting and very sad. So it's just very, very sad. It was tasty, but sad. So they took away everything on the table. They switched our silverware to gold silverware, and they even changed the color of our napkins. We had white napkins, and they brought out some bright blue ones. Very interesting. Okay, so this was by far the most extra move I have ever seen at a restaurant. The most extra thing that I've ever experienced. So they got rid of all the silverware that was on our table and got rid of our napkins, and they gave us gold. They gave us gold silverware, and they changed out the napkin for blue. Can you guys who are more knowledgeable about this than I am explain to me in the comment section why that's a thing? Why they need to change out for the dessert course the silverware into gold and to the blue? Like, why? Why? I was perfectly content with my regular napkin.
This is not dessert. It's just like a little warm-up before dessert comes. Olive oil chocolate, lemon drop, coffee caramel tartelette, and pear pâte de fruits. Enjoy.
Thank you.
It's finger food, huh? You can just pick it up.
Now let's get into our pre-dessert course. They came out with what I could only describe as bao bun steamers or like dumpling steamers, because it came, as you saw, stacked, and he revealed what we had. Now I will say those lemon drops were actually really tasty. I'm not a huge fan of lemon, but those lemon drops were actually really tasty and really sweet. The ones in the middle, they were almost like gusher consistency. It was like a gummy. It was really weird, but it was really tasty. Now, moving on further down, the fruit roll-up looking things, those were tasty as well. It kind of tasted like honey to me almost. I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be honey, but for me it just tasted like honey. And I don't like coffee, so Coda had at the coffee tartlets that were up there, and she said that they were really tasty. And I tried to buy two, and yeah, it was sweet, but little too overpowering as with the coffee taste for me. So I personally didn't enjoy that one.
So we have raspberry dessert. We have a blanc manger here, raspberry sorbet, bee wax, raspberry pearl under the wax, honey mousse, fresh raspberry, enjoy.
Thank you. And the most disappointing dessert ever. So, oh my god. So he came out and he gave us this like jelly that was again covered in flower petals. And this jelly had absolutely no flavor at all. It had a little bit of a sweetness to it, but not really a good sweetness. It was actually almost on the verge of being tart. And it just didn't have any like real recognizable flavor. The only flavor came from those cooked raspberries that he put on the plate and drizzled on top. So that was really disappointing. The raspberry sorbet that was up there, the ice cream, it was really good. The foam, I can't tell you why the foam was there. It had no flavor whatsoever. The foam had no flavor whatsoever, and I think it was just there for show. I don't know if we were supposed to eat it or not, but to be honest, it looked to me like they were doing dishes and they just plopped a little thing of suds there on the plate. So I can't explain, but it was tasty. The sorbet was actually tasty. And then we move on to the last honeycomb looking thing. It was like a cream almost, and it was actually really tasty. It was sweet, and the pencil looking thing, it was crunchy, and it was almost like, it tasted like a graham cracker to me. So the flavor combinations were a little weird, but it was tasty. I actually enjoyed that one the most, but it was still like not the best. Like, it can be tasty, but it was just not the best. Okay, so this is the bill for 2 people at the end of the Enchanté dinner. I'm actually surprised my Shirley Temple was not included. That's kind of unfortunate. That's actually very unfortunate that it's not included. I thought it would be. I mean, $2. What's $2 on top of 460, you know? But, whew, ouch. So, just real quick, is this a one and done for you? Yeah? But did you enjoy it?
Yes.
It's enjoyable, but for us, it's most definitely a one and done. Heading on back downstairs after a very interesting meal at Enchanté. Very interesting place. Okay, guys, so now we come to the end, the bill. $462, and can anyone explain to me why I got charged for the Sprite? I'm already paying $390 for the 2 of us to have a meal, and they're gonna charge me $225 for a Shirley Temple that I had to describe to them how to make. Why? Why? That was just adding a little insult to injury, but yeah, almost $500 later, we walked out of the restaurant disappointed. Now, again, to what I was saying about the meal being the most awkward experience we've ever had. So, not only was it really, really quiet in the restaurant, like, yeah, in the video you could hear music playing, but the video makes the music sound louder than it actually was, because I had to adjust the audio so that way you can actually hear what the waiter was saying as he was describing the dishes. So don't let the music fool you, because I had to adjust the audio. It was really quiet in the restaurant, and as Coda has said before in the past live stream that we did, we could hear the people behind us chewing and eating. That was really weird and gross. I don't like hearing people chew, and we were able to hear the people chew. That's why we didn't talk a whole lot in the actual video, because it was just so quiet in there. And then what made things even worse and what made it really awkward for us was you guys could see in the video how reflective those windows were, especially at night. It was like pitch black outside, so we could see everything that was going on behind us in the reflections. And the waiter would put the food down, and then he would go and stand behind us, and we could see him in the mirror just standing behind us, just kind of watching. Like, dude, you don't have to stand directly behind us. Coda and I, we felt extremely awkward. Like, we felt like we were being judged the entire time. And again, from the get-go, you know, we were being judged because we don't drink wine. We don't drink, you know, any kind of like specialty wine that would be paired with this stuff. And then on top of that, the wine is like, he said that there was a $200 option, there's $115 and $145 option. Like, oh my God, you were spending a lot of money at this restaurant if you were deciding to go all out with this. And I just gotta say, guys, this was the most disappointing experience I have ever had on a Disney cruise ship. The most disappointing meal I've ever had. And I legitimately feel like we wasted almost $500 on this meal. I wanted to do something special for Coda, and I wanted to go all out with her, and I wanted to, you know, show her a good time, and, you know, kind of experience what it's like to be in the upper class of society. I grew up struggling, and we ultimately left disappointed. Now, I've heard from other people that they had an amazing time at Enchanté, and I say good for you. I say good for you, and I've also heard of people saying that they left Enchanté extremely disappointed like we did. I don't know. I mean, again, I grew up struggling. I didn't grow up eating food like this. I didn't grow up eating foam or having flower petals be a part of my diet. This is just not me. It's not me, and I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try it, and yeah, we ultimately left disappointed. Now, Palo. We went to Palo the following morning, and that's the video that you guys are going to be seeing next. We have a review of Palo coming up after this video. In the next couple days, you guys are going to be seeing it. And we had a much more enjoyable time in Palo. Palo is the other more upscale restaurant, not quite as upscale as Enchanté, but it's the other upscale restaurant, an upcharge restaurant on the Disney Wish. And we had an amazing time at Palo. We had such an amazing time at Palo. The food all of it that we had was really good. And I'm just going to save it all for that review because you guys have got to see the difference between Enchanté and Palo. It is night and day difference. Night and day difference. So, yeah, you guys let me know down in the comment section below. Have you guys eaten at Remy's or have you guys eaten at Enchanté on the Disney Wish? Share your thoughts and experiences down in the comment section below. I know that I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this video in the comments because people are going to say I'm probably uncultured or something along those lines, or I have no taste buds or no palate or whatever. But I grew up in a different world. I grew up in a different world than this, and I finally had the financial opportunity to try something out like this, and all I got to say is never again. Never again will I pay for something like this, especially on a Disney ship. Like, I don't care how much money I may have saved up in the future, because I saved a lot of money for this Wish trip. Like, I was going to go all out on the Disney Wish, and this was part of it. So I budgeted this out. It's not like I just have this kind of money lying around. I saved for this experience, and we ultimately left disappointed. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Once again, let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that you saw in today's video down in the comments section below, and hopefully you guys stick around and look forward to our Palo review, which I promise you is a lot more positive. We definitely enjoyed our time at Palo a lot more than Enchanté. But anyways, guys, thank you all once again so much for watching today's video. Subscribe if you are new around here, and ring that notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video like this in the future. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.